Hey, everybody, welcome to Off the Bench Magazine. I am the editor-in-chief and your host, Mark Wiggins, and we're going to have a special guest on today, a longtime speaker friend of mine who was actually on the cover of the November issue of the OTB magazine, Mr. Rodney C. Burris. Rodney is a speaker extraordinaire all over the world, young buck doing his thing. He's a young, we call him Young Thundercat, little Young Thundercat. He may be like 10, 12, I'm not sure. But you've seen Rodney before. We've been on a lot of different conversations. He's been on my Off the Bench Live, birthday edition, extra edition. Anytime I need the brother to come speak, he shows up. If he needs me to come do something, I'm there for him as well. But just once again, trying to elevate and keep people on platform and push them out on all different channels. He is doing his thing. I'm just happy to go along for the ride and to elevate this young brother to keep moving forward. But before we bring him on, have a conversation, just want to shout out a couple of things. The November issue is out. Make sure you go get it. Hit the offthebenchmagazine.com and go hit the link and subscribe. Also, you can see the gift giving guide, the OTB magazine gift giving guide, which is free. If you go to the IG link, OTB magazine, click in the link tree there, click on the gift giving guide. You'll see some great gifts for the holidays. You still got time. We will be hearing from a couple of vendors probably next week or so, and then again in December, to allow them to come on and share with you who they are, their product, what they've got going on, how long they've been doing it, and then that way you can see what and learn from about who you're going to buy your products from. So we have a couple of great guests for that. Also brought to you by Black Star Line Cigars, sponsor out of Chicago. He's been within the magazine. We also have our telehealth program with Dr. Coffee for young athletes. Definitely hit us on the website for that to get linked to get your young athletes some coaching that they need for the mental part of the game. It's wintertime. We got a whole different set of athletes winding up and other athletes winding down, and some that just work all year round. So they need help. Need to have someone who's a professional sports psychologist talk to them. Dr. Coffee is your psychologist to make that happen. Let's see, there's one other sponsor I may have. I think that's it for right now. Anyway, also coming down the road, that's what I was meant to say. Coming down the road, I am rolling back out my speaker training program, the core speaker training program: content, organization, research, and execution. Those 4 steps will help you put together your speech. If you've never spoken before, you've got this burning desire to speak, my core program will help you put your basic message together that you can repeat anytime, anywhere, and dominate a stage and make money. That's what this does. And we're going to do a cohort. Some speakers are going to kick off in the January, February timeframe. Spots will be limited. There'll be more to come. We brought a group of 6 in last time, and they're doing their thing right now. But here's a bonus about what I do. Now, you can go get in a lot of different programs. I've seen people go, and Rodney can speak to it when he gets on. We know people that pay thousands and thousands of dollars, go to speaker training programs, get all types of coaches and this, that, third. Needed, must have. Let me say that, needed and must have. But what they're lacking is a message. They go get all this together and then don't have a message. Then they go, why won't help me? No, because you didn't have a general thought of what you want to speak. How can I shape it? If I'm those entities, how can I shape a message that you don't have? Come get with your boy. Let's put your message together, and I guarantee you can go wherever you want to go. You can stick with me. We'll get you going. I got enough research and enough reach. But if you want to step off and go somewhere else, at least you'll have a starting point. The core program is for anyone who wants to speak, that's written a book, and they want to talk about their book. You're a speaker now, but you want to tighten your game down. This is the program for you. And guess what else you're going to get? Wait, there's more. When you get in my program, you also get to be in my magazine. No additional cost. There's a fee to be in my magazine, a fee to write in my magazine, because we're advertising. This is an adventure. This is a business. But if you're training with me, I believe that you need as much practice and exposure as possible, and my magazine will give you that at least 12 times. You'll be in my magazine. You'll be on my platform. We'll bring you on. We'll have you message. This is what we do. We got the podcast. You're not going to get all that from other places. Again, I can attest to all of this stuff that gets on here. You're not getting all of that. Mark, why do you do extra? Is what I do. I'm giving you all I got. I'm giving you all I got, and this is what we're going to do. And I'm here with you to keep you running. As you see, once you're a speaker in my speaking network, in my tribe, you stay in my tribe. Whether you paying me or not, you in my tribe. That's how this works. Anyway, that's enough of that. What's up, Rodney, man? Good to have you on the podcast and program today. What's going on, sir?
Man, it's good to be here, man. While you was talking, there was so many things that was running through my mind about the value of your program. So if I may, Mark, I know we didn't even talk about me sharing my insights on why I think your program is going to be valuable, but you triggered something for me that I want to share with the people, and I believe it could be helpful. So if I may have a moment to do an unabashed pitching of your program. So the thing about having that message, right? There's two things, y'all, that Mark will never tell you because it comes from my perspective as a person knowing him for a long time, right? He says that I've been in a bunch of places, and I have. One of my foundational memories breaking into the field was watching Mark deliver a masterful message in a moment. And so we were in this speakers training. It was maybe about 200 people in a room all over the country, maybe about 150, but it was a lot of us, right? Mm-hmm. But when you compare it to the country of hundreds of millions of folks, we're a fraction of 0.1% of people that were commissioned to go around and engage and inspire, right? And so every now and then when we would get together and kind of have what they call certifications to show, are we up to the task to go around and carry the mantle? Every now and then they would pick a couple out of the crowd, out of the 100 of us or so, and say, show us what you got. And Mark, you guys walked around this room, right? Person after person, table after table. We were in the multi-purpose room of a hotel, and he served everybody a glass of water and stayed on message and stayed intriguing. Now, mind you, it's pouring water. You got feet, you got bags, you got people having desks, books, laptops, you have different cups and highlighters and folders. You have some people who don't want so much, some people who want more. You got the ice. You have all of these different things happening, right? The pitcher running out. He's engaging with everybody as he's moving, serving the water and serving the message, right? And so if people like us who had already demonstrated that we deserve to be at the table could still learn from a person like Mark Wiggins, what I'm telling you is that the value that you would get from one of his programs and just being in his tutelage is rare. That's the first thing that Mark had me think about when he was just sharing about this when he was doing the intro. The second thing, guys, is I had the little quirky opportunity to be in Florence, Italy. Little dude growing up in the hood, found myself in Florence, Italy, right? And so they were taking us around and showing us Renaissance art. I never think I would be into art, right? They taking us, and this is the Michelangelo this and the Leonardo da Vinci that, right? Crazy stuff. Well, Mark said something that made me think about a quote that I heard from Michelangelo, Renaissance artist, 400, 500, 600 years ago, right? And Michelangelo was talking about his masterpiece called the David. So the David, y'all, is like 17 feet tall, something crazy like that, 15, 13 feet, something immense. It's a marble statue. Is made out of a solid block of stone, right? Marble is rock. So how they had it set up, I stumbled upon this. This wasn't a part of a tour. I just didn't feel like going home after school. I came around a corner, and down this hallway stood this 15-foot man who looked stern and imposing and powerful. And the crazy thing about it, he wasn't even looking at me, right? He's looking down, he's looking away, right? But his presence was funneled down this hallway, right? He looked so, it wasn't just the size. The size definitely had that impact, but it was also the fact that, like, when you got close, y'all, you could see like the veins underneath his skin. You could see the cuticle in his nail. You could see the little ridge behind the major ridge in his ear. You could see the subtleties in his eyelashes. It was like the amazing detail in this rock. His skin almost looked soft. His skin almost looked, to use a crazy word, supple. Like if you were to touch it, he'd be like, yo, you don't see I'm focused? Like he had that kind of presence about him. Chill, all of that kind of stuff. And so they were asking him, this is a solid piece of rock, Michelangelo. How in the world did you create this? How did you have the vision to do this? And he said something that was embedded in Mark's statement. He said, I didn't create the David. He was already in there. I just liberated him. We got a message, right? But all of us don't know how to bring it out. All of us don't know how to bring it forth. I'm too this. I don't have enough this. I don't have, and sometimes we need people. We need Michelangelos. We need Marks in our lives that are uniquely gifted to help us chip away at the blocks, chip away at the self-confidence, insecure issues, chip away in the, but don't nobody listen to me anyway, and help bring out of us the masterpiece that's already locked in, right? And so I've seen them do it, right? You have things in this world called qualified statements, right? So I could see if I was just his friend or his cousin or his mama, like, go baby, like, do it. I want him to win at all costs. I've not only seen it and witnessed it, I'm a person that's been around some of the best. I've been to multiple countries doing this. I got some books, I've done some things. And when I share with you guys that there's value in what Mark brings to the table that I believe is good for us all, it's a qualified statement. Right, that's a qualified position to take. So I thought about that while he was sharing, bro. And I know you didn't know I would go into all of that, but I wanted to share that as we kicked off our convo today, man.
Man, I appreciate you, Rodney. As always, much love. Thank you for that unsolicited testimony. I appreciate you. I'm definitely using it in the edits and the promos. So let's get to you. Let's get to you because we're here to talk about you and stuff. Since we're on the speaker and training, talk to us more about your messaging. You have elevated. I've watched your message grow. You are elevated now. You're speaking on different things. I see you training corporations out at slides and rocks and zip lines and chasing bears. What is Rodney Burris doing today?
Yeah, man. So I actually just have one message, right? And that message kind of is the outgrowth of something that you and I were exposed to early on in our careers, right? And that's this whole idea of becoming different and better. So another thing that they don't know is that when we were doing high school programs 15, 20 years ago, there was an exercise in one of our programs that said, high school students, if you're trying to get into college, don't join too many groups, right? 2 to 3 at the most, and make sure you're not just a member, but you're like taking a leadership role eventually, and all like the pyramid all the way up. And at the top, it was a 2-word phrase that said, when you leave that organization different and better, right? And so that mark stuck in my head since the early 2000s. And it's something that has just become a part of my DNA, my messaging, my molecules, right? This whole idea of constant and never-ending improvement, of iterative growth, right? Of progression. And so there's a way to be a little bit different and better than I was yesterday every single day. And that idea increases productivity in work groups. It increases work-life balance, workplace morale. It decreases absenteeism. It decreases kind of being off focus, like people desire to be there as the leader, manager, supervisor. Me becoming different and better impacts how I treat my team. As a parent, it impacts how I treat my kids. It impacts how I treat my boo thing, right? It's the same message. So what I do is that I'm like, okay, that's a church group. Let me use these seasonings and these flavorings, right? This is a corporate entity. We're outside, right? But it's chicken, right? It's the same thing. Sometimes roast con pollo. Sometimes I bake it and use some marinara sauce. But at the end of the day, that messaging is the same, and we can become different and better, man. So I'm all about that.
Nah, right. And I forgot. Again, they don't know. We go back to, you said that better. I've been saying, so I did it with MIC, different and better, blah, 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 for years. Right. Then I got the Positive Coaching Alliance, and they were like, you're going to leave, you make your athletes better, be a better athlete. And I kept saying better, and then someone introduced to me, it's just, everybody say better. And it has stuck ever since. And most times when you hear me speak, and I say, you know what, it's going to be better, everybody say better. And they have to say better. And that came from all that. It's like, because you just better, different and better than yesterday. Right. So along the way, we're always gathering, but I love what you say about that base chicken that you have, because the chicken is a chicken until you cook it, right? Until you finish it off. Which is the same with the core message. Your core message doesn't change. It's what's wrapped around it. You want lettuce, you want a fajita, you want to go a bowl with some rice. Right. Right. No matter what you do to your message, it is the core message at the end of the day. Your one singular platform and push, right? Yours is about better. Yeah. We're about better.
Yeah.
I'm still about
It's the same thing, man.
For a minute, right?
And I think that's part of the reason why we link up so well, right? Because at the end of the day, the platforms that we use, the messaging is consistent, right? Yeah. So whether it's been a magazine or a tour, if it's like, hey, Mark, I got this organization come through, they need to get better, right? They trying to improve some stuff. No matter what it is, there's this consistent alignment. I shared that point because if you guys have been connected to Mark for a while, it's a reason for that, right? If you're watching this episode, I don't believe in coincidences. I kind of believe that things kind of line up. Like, I've been thinking about this. I've been wondering, when you get that little intuition, those gut feelings, when you have those times like something told me, it's a reason for that. What we're really good at, people like all of us, we are great at ignoring it. We're phenomenal at playing that down, right? But think about the times when we just follow that little subtle like nudging, that little subtle kind of like, I think, in the doors of the opportunities that's opened up. And so if we can get better at giving ourselves permission to recognize that although it's subtle, although it's not forceful, it has a lot of potential impact, a lot of potential value, we can really, really elevate, man. And I think that that's one of the things that me and you share. Not that we're perfect, bro, come on now, not that, but just the intention behind different and better. It kind of shines through.
Absolutely. Now, Rodney, we're talking about your platform, what you're doing. I'm going to put you on small blast and say, no, you've been killing it. But I've watched you now reboot and rebrand and talk about that. Because the people out here who are trying to speak or looking for a speaker such as yourself to come in, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We've established you're talking about the same thing you talked about, but your packaging is different. When in your career did you decide to elevate and reach back out? Let's go.
So what had happened? What had happened was I was coming out of I had the speaking career, and then I was getting choppy with that due to some me blocking myself stuff that I wasn't even aware of. And then so I had to go back into full-time work. I did that for a little bit. And then that was kind of like, I was like outgrowing it. As a matter of fact, the CEO of the organization said, Rodney, you've been here with us about 2 years. I don't know where else to put you. You've helped us do this. You helped us do this. You helped us do this. She was like, you could do my job. I don't know what else to do with you. All I heard was I was getting fired. She was like, we're going to let this run out for X amount of days. I think she said 60 days or 3 months. That's not a firing. Somebody let you stay on for another 2 to 3 months. She was like, I want you to land well. I want you to figure it out. She was like, but I think you could do my role. Don't nobody as a CEO want you taking their job. And I understand. And I didn't want that. I want to be a part, but I was outgrowing it, right? And so I had to move into my own space. So coming into 2017, 2018, just a few years ago, like to your point, I had to reboot how I understood myself, but I didn't even know what that meant. It started off with people in my circle, right? Good folks saying, hey, Rod, your website sucks. I'm like, what, your mama? Yeah, let me tell you about your mama website, right? Right? But I had two, three good people that I love, that I trust at the same time that don't even know each other. That was like, hey, bro, that little scraggly picture, grainy picture web splash page that you got, that don't really represent you well. And so I went through the work of kind of repackaging. Well, doing that opened my mind up to different people who could help me. I found myself being connected to something called the Black Speakers Network. So if any of you guys are interested in really, really being connected to people, see, there's this idea about competition. And I am a competitive soul, right? I love playing sports. I love being active and all that kind of stuff. But on the other side is this idea about collaboration, right? I'm not your competition, I'm your collaboration. And that whole idea allows for people like Rodney and Mark, people like the 15,000 folks that are in the Black Speakers Network to say, oh yeah, well, I got this, and that each one teach one, that whole, that village that raises the child in all of us has been great. So then I found myself developing things like a speaker one sheet. I don't even know what that is. If you don't know what that is, Google that. If you're trying to move into the speaking space, look up what a speaker one sheet is, right? Just getting my packaging together. Well, that leveled me up in such a way where now I'm catching the eye of different people like publicists. Well, when I got connected to different publicists, they would ask me the question that Mark just said: who are you? What's your branding? What's your message? I'm like, oh, I just, want to help. I talk to people. Yeah, great. You sound like you just fall for any old thing. Like, who are you targeting? Because if you're not targeting anybody specifically, that means your messaging isn't hitting anybody specifically. Nobody wants that. People want an answer, a solution. And so that homie, I went way back, y'all, to when me and Mark first got started. And I just started tracking like the threads. Like the nodules between what have I consistently been trying to do when I was in this role, when I held office for a little bit, when I was working in this nonprofit, when I was speaking for this company, what was I endeavoring to do in each of those positions? I was working on folks' mindset, unlocking it to become different and better, right? When I was in political office, I used that platform to help Baltimoreans realize that we can have different and better. We don't have to be The Wire. We don't have to be the HBO special, right? That's a part of our story, but what else can be a part of our story? And so that whole idea about unlocking a mindset to become different and better, and that personal leadership, like helping you guys become better, starts with helping myself become better. Using parallels, corny parallels like Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you want to see. Like, we've been saying this stuff in pop culture for so long. I packaged it. I Rodney flavored it. Some people love it. Some people people like, I don't really know, right? But for those of us that vibe like that, that's what I've been delivering. And so I would say about 2 years ago, Mark, I reintroduced myself as a leadership mindset development trainer. That has opened a million amazing doors. And then the last thing I'll say on this point, I have a contact of mine who works in the federal government. He has associations and agencies around the country. He's contracted me out to work with them. He has other people like me that he's contracted out to work with. He introduced me one day. He said, this is one of our nation's finest leadership mindset development trainers. He is one of the top that I've seen at unlocking human potential in organizations. I took that phrase and put it on my website. That is at the top of my website.
Right.
Yeah, that's at the top of my website. Is that once again, y'all, when you have a qualified statement coming from a person, right? Who this dude don't just work in a cubicle in a corner. He has national presence. He funnels millions of dollars through agencies around the country. This dude says, I've seen them. I've paid them. I've worked with them. And RCB, Rodney C. Burris, is, in my opinion, his opinion, one of the top at unlocking this human potential and helping people become different and better through transforming that mindset. That's an overwhelming, compliment. And I tout it. I didn't know it. I believed it. But I didn't know it. And I never phrased it like that until he said it, man. And so that's why I've been positioning myself differently in this world. It's because of new relationships.
That you said more than a mouthful on a lot of different topics, all of which we talk about, especially in the magazine. Just finding new voices, new rock turners, if you will, someone who else look at this rock over here. Now, you looked at this rock for 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. Here comes somebody over left field and says something. You turn, well, look, there it is. Been there the whole time. But it is really about the continual, because it's about the continual process, about the becoming of it. And you don't want to arrive, because once you arrive, then that's it. That there's nothing else to do.
Right.
But the journey to continue to become better, and the journey to stay off the bench is what you've been on. Reinventing yourself, taking that hit. Let me tell you something. One of the toughest things to do is to hear that criticism of a website you made back in '87. I wonder why nobody hit it, because it don't load. It don't even load no more. I did it myself. That's the problem. I did it myself. So now, you've got to invest. You have to invest. If you're trying to be a speaker, you have to invest in other folks like you want other folks to invest in you. When someone says they want me to coach them, I have a coach. right? I had a coach and heavy coach for my magazine. That was not my original concept. I did not come up with that mind. Ain't nothing brand new, but for what I'm using it for, came from my relationship with my coach.
Yeah, man.
And the speaking part, I have speaking coaches. I have people I work with. As you know, we call them, we chatting.
Right.
They're always working on our skill because that's what I talk about. If you watch my messages and the Woke Wednesdays that come out, I'm always referring to working and practicing when nobody is looking. So when they put the lights and the camera in your face, no, game time. You ready? You ready? But these are the things that we're talking about. So I love the fact that you're out here and moving your message forward and moving your platform forward and refining it because it's not changed. You've been talking about this for years, which is awesome. So now talk about, you got books out. You got two books out now, and the third coming, or 3 and 4 coming. I lost track.
Yeah, man. I have a series out called Get Off the Cycle. It's about breaking cycles and becoming different and better. That's a beautiful concept. You made me think about something again about the rock turners in our life, right? And I didn't know, Mark, that this was going to be me trying to encourage more and more the people in our connected networks, because I'm going to share this across the networks, to kind of get in and get with your program. But I feel this, so I got to go with it, right? I feel it, so I got to go with it. All right, so Mark mentioned the rock turners that are in our life that have us looking at a rock that we've seen 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, right? That rock could be a relationship, an obstacle, a closed door, an opportunity that's not so much of an opportunity, something that we're just sitting on. And they go back and tell us to turn it over like this or one more time. And before you know it, it's a whole opportunity that had literally been there that entire time. Well, when Mark was talking, y'all, it made me think about when I was a little kid, 7th grade, I started playing the trumpet, right? Middle school, right? Started playing the trumpet. And I played the trumpet for years. I still got like 3 or 4 horns at the house, etc. My ability to play the trumpet completely leveled up with a rock turner in my life, like Mark just talked about. So the guys at my church, I was playing at church, I was playing in school, right? But I sucked at church. I was good at school because I could sit and read the music and all that. But at church, I couldn't play with them boys at all. I couldn't play. Well, all of those boys learned how to play by ear. You know, they was funky. Like I learned how to play notes. I learned how to do scales, like just corny, stand in the lines, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, there was a guy who left our church and came back. He used to play the trumpet when I was a small boy. And he came back in the middle of me being like 12, 14, 15, something like that. And my little broken horns don't belong in church because you can't play it right, sound right, self. He had his mouth. He's a horn player. So although he came in with not a bag or nothing, his mouthpiece was in his jacket pocket. And he came up there with the musicians and sat down. And I knew who he was. I was honored that he wanted to hold my horn. I gave him the whole thing. Now, really, you don't share mouthpieces, right? But I gave it to him, right? His name was Isaiah. I gave him, Brother Isaiah, I gave him the horn. Mark, he took my horn, took my mouthpiece out, looked at it, gave it to me. I'm like, okay. I mean, he just wanted to look at it. Pulled his mouthpiece out of his jacket, popped it in, ran the valves like this a little bit, and produced the most melodic, soulful tunes that accompanied the music out of my horn that was broken. My little rock of a trumpet didn't turn over. It didn't fit. It didn't sound good. He was doing finger combinations, bro, that I was like, how did you just run that scale, right? I ain't gonna get too much into it, but there's certain combos for the trumpet. There's only 3 valves, so there's ways that you do it. And I'm watching him and I'm seeing what he's doing with his mouth. And I'm like, he was like, well, that whole scale is just the first valve. And that whole something. And it unlocked me. It turned over my rock. It's a reason why y'all are hearing me and Mark talk about this. It's a reason why from the beginning of this all the way through, we're talking about different and better and better and better and turning over rocks and getting off the bench and having coaches and having mentors and making an investment in yourself. It's a universal principle that when you put something into the ground, something comes out of that, right? Something comes, whether it's a weed, whether it's an apple tree, whatever it is, something comes out of the investing in self. Mark is good ground, but people like Mark, right? But you're here. You here listen to me and Mark talk about this. So I would just encourage you to go with that guidance, go with that nudging. Like, I should be doing this. Probably. It could work out for the best. So I just want to share that. Yeah, I got books. Yeah, they can find me. I'm on Clubhouse now, bro. I just did a whole series of TikToks, homie. I'm on TikTok now.
That's right. You're TikTok now? What? Oh, snap. Okay.
Now. So yeah, everything I'm doing is,
How you liking the Clubhouse? I was on early, I didn't have a bandwidth. How you liking Clubhouse?
So Clubhouse is a little different of a platform. It has an intimacy factor that is different and distinct from Twitter, IG, Facebook. It's just voices. For those of you that don't quite know what Clubhouse is, it's just a series of our little profile pictures on a page. And our mics are on for those of us that have elected to have mics on, et cetera, et cetera. And we're just conversing. Now, it takes some like moderation and facilitation because you could have a car crash of like 30 people trying to talk over each other, right? Mm-hmm. How they have it set up is that you have a moderator that opens what they call the room, the space. And then they invite some people to the stage, which is and everybody else is kind of like in the crowd or in the club, in the audience. And we talk about stuff. Mark, it is one of the most cross-educational platforms that I've seen. People sharing real information and then inviting other people to be connected. There was a lady who helped my book go #1 on Amazon. #1 in 3 different categories. She has her business. She makes a business of it. She has figured out the Amazon algorithm and the world population and what to do and how to position it to get your book to hit #1 on Amazon, bro. I'm an Amazon bestseller. I met this lady on Clubhouse. I've never seen her in my life. For real. Right. So I would share that Amazon is something, be a connected, man. Something about these relationships. TikTok is great because it's budget and is bite sized in nuggets. I did not mean to put bite and nugget together and make budget, but maybe it was a subliminal.
Right.
But TikTok gives us bite sized nuggeted messages, right? And you can use TikTok just for fun, and you can use it just for recipes, and you can use it just to do a dance trend or ice bucket challenge. I have seen it used for people sharing information that's like, whoa, that's crazy. Whoa, that's crazy. So between Clubhouse, which could be used for frivolity, it could be. IG could be, Twitter could be, or we can kind of gear ourselves to find people like Mark, find people like myself. Every single platform across social media, I'm at Rodney C. Burris. Sometimes you can put the dots in, sometimes you don't. You're going to get the same guy. Right? Rodney C. If you went to IG and put Rodney C. Burris without the periods in, you still gonna get my profile. It's the same, right? I got everything kind of streamlined into that thing. My website is rodneycburris.com. My books on Amazon is is authored by me. So there's people like us, people like Mark and myself and others that are on these same platforms that are doing it with the intention of helping us all level up. So I would definitely say let's stay connected.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love Clubhouse, especially during the pandemic. I learned a lot about Bitcoin, and I did run a room or two. I mean, it was hard. It was one of those things, and people think, oh, y'all get up to speak. Yeah, we can do that, but it was hard. Like, there's so much I want to talk about. Where do I start with this? What makes it interesting? And instead of just, so I got out there a couple times, had a little room, and I was going to help with speaker tips and whatever. And again, everything rolls back to that's what I like to do. To do what I do is the motivation and inspiration. That's the lane. Right. So right. I know on TikTok, I saw that your videos, it's still an art form. Again, for those who are learning to speak, you got to be able to do the following things. Yes. Talk with a microphone tied to a wall, have the lights go out, no microphone, thousands of people. Don't underestimate the experiences of how we are who we are. But being able to condense a message into you were longer than a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You were around like 3. I don't know. They must have added
TikTok now lets you do 3 minute.
Yeah, I can tell because you were going way too smooth. I'm like, this bro got about 3 minutes. So I got these 2-minute woke Wednesdays I've been dropping for a whole year. That's about consistency, right? Yes. Every Wednesday something drops. Boom, boom, 2 minutes. Boom. That's all I got time for. That's hard. So I take those now, and I'm like, we're gonna do this old content. Now we're talking about evergreen, right? We're gonna talk about this stuff is done. So what you will start to see starting beginning next year is all last year is going to TikTok. Because my subscribers get it first, right? That's the benefit of being a subscriber.
That's right.
They get it first. So I got a whole year behind me. Here's what else is going to happen. Yes. Here's what else is going to happen, Rodney. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take those 52 weeks, transcribe them, and make them into a digital product. Woke Wednesday. So here comes the Woke Wednesday words that I spoke all year. Now it's a digital product. So now for those who just quick bite size. Anyway, these are things and tricks and stuff that we learned along the way.
I have a request about your digital product, man. So something that I'm trying to look into, and I would love for us all, you all, to benefit from it. See if you can turn your joint into some sort of NFT. I don't quite know what that is, Mark. I don't know.
I heard it, but yeah, there's a process, but yes.
Something about that.
NFT.
So as I understand it, in a nutshell, I might sound crazy. You know how your mom be like, did he do the touchdown or a free throw? Like, no, mama, he didn't do a touchdown or a free throw, mama. So I might sound like this, what I'm about to say, right? As I currently understand it, which is in a very limited sense, if you upload your content as an NFT, I don't know what that means or how to do it. I'm looking into it, right? I'm trying to help us all come. It connects it to the blockchain. What does that mean? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm working on it. But being connected to the blockchain ties it to Mark. So when it gets shared, when it gets reposted, when somebody buys it, when somebody rebuys it, resells it, each one of those times it links and trickles back and sends money and funds to Mark Wiggins.
Yep.
Time you having a product, each of us having our own. So what happens is you create like this authenticity trail that, yes, it's been shared across platforms. You know how I'm gonna give you guys an example. This is how I currently understand it. Facebook, IG, let me specifically do Facebook. When something is shared and reshared and reshared and reshared, but you look down and it says it has 300,000 views or 3 million views or 30,000 views, but it's been shared by all of these people. Each one of those people didn't look at it one time, but the original content has a tracker on it. It's the same kind of thing with NFT. The original content will have this tracker on it where no matter how many times Mark's digital product gets moved around, his poem, his book, or whatever, it traces it back to him and credits him in some sort of digital currency, something where we can all make some money. I'm looking into that, bro. I don't want to block it so people can't access to it that don't have an NFT account. Again, I might sound like your mama, grandmama talking like this because that may not be how it works. What I am encouraging us to do is to not be confined to just because we don't understand it, we close the door. Just because they didn't teach us this growing up in church around the way or back home at the kitchen table, that it's not for us, that's for them. That's old. That's archaic. We're going to break up out of that and we're going to catch the waves as they come, man. So digital product, definitely. But if it's an NFT potentiality with you, bro, please.
Thanks for sharing. I didn't think about it. When I hear NFTs, I know we said blockchain, which ties to the digital currency, Bitcoins, or the current currency, pick one. People are doing, I know artists are like tapping really huge now. Their artwork is being sold in auction or bought for Bitcoin dollars at high ignorant dollars. Like they make artists are coming out, putting their music on the NFT. So tell you what, you work on, I work on, figure it out, and we'll put a course together and teach it. How about that? That's how this usually goes. Somebody has to go teach it. So we will do those things. I appreciate you sharing that part. Also got a collab book project coming. We'll speak online to you about that. I need you a part of it. Anything I do, I drag you along with me.
I know, right? Kicking and screaming. No, absolutely.
That's right. All right. So wrap this down. Give again everybody how to catch you. Any last words, get that piece of motivation, that cycle off, the cycle run, drop it, go.
Cool. I would say this, man. One of my favorite quotes, guys, is opportunities of a lifetime must be seized within a lifetime of that opportunity. Right? It's part of how I live my life. So I will leave you guys with that. You want to stay connected with myself and Mark, the information is right there. Brother, thank you so much for having me.
Always good, Rodney. I will talk to you later, bro. Thanks a lot.
Cool. All right, homie.
All right, everybody, there you have it. Thanks for joining us today. Having our cover on, Mr. Rodney C. Burris, who is doing his doggone thing. Just the energy he drops is amazing. So anyway, stay connected with us. Remember, offthebenchmagazine.com. Get your subscription. Get ready. Log in now so you start your 12-month run getting into next year. It is going to be on fire. We've got new writers coming on board. If you have a message or you need a platform, hit me up again on Facebook, inbox, IG, tag me, box me, whatever they're doing nowadays. Get to us because we're trying to get to you, but reach out to us. We can get you in the magazine to get your message out there. The magazine is growing. It's maturing. I told you this all year. The message has gotten stronger and stronger in exposure, and the guests are getting hotter and hotter. We've had a lot of people on our magazine elevate. We've had the women of power. Shouts out to Dr. Risa Davis over here in the DC Ashburn area. She has been touted as the Metropolitan's one of the best pediatricians in the DMV. Again, that is no small feat. She has also been on the feature. We got women who've been on the cover who are now chief people officers of major organizations, got their own businesses running. Again, this is being poured into this magazine to help get you off the bench. That is the goal. It's a motivational lifestyle magazine, and we need you to be a part of it, so check it out. That's all I got for right now. And remember this, as always, if you can reach your dreams with the step ladder, then they're probably too low. I'm out.